talking about what makes you successful in life, relationships, and business. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy.
So today, the subject I really want to talk about with you, Shannon, is the responsibility that we have as women to protect other women.
Okay.
And this is kind of the reason, and not only to protect other women, but to protect and help men step it up, right?
Where's this coming from? Tell me what you're thinking.
So here's kind of what happened in this last week, and it's happened before, but in this last week, I was contacted by a couple of male friends who I have on Facebook that I've had a pretty good long relationship with. And we message each other. We encourage each other. I've given them marketing ideas. We've talked about cryptocurrency. We talk about our families. And for those who don't know, on my Facebook, I'm very active, but I post pictures of my husband. I talk about my husband. I talk about my kids. I talk about my business, my friends. I mean, my life's kind of an open book on there.
Right.
But I have received some messages asking for personal, private pictures. You've probably had this happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
And, the first thing that goes through your mind is, why do you need pictures? I post all kinds of pictures on Facebook.
Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking is, if you want a picture of me, you can see it right there. And why do you need a picture of me? Like, where's this going? And for me, I use LOL, right? Laugh out loud, a lot when I'm in an uncomfortable situation. And one of the things that my 2020 is about is being comfortable in the uncomfortable. Well, when I first received this request, especially with one particular person, I LOL'd. It's not how I felt. I was extremely uncomfortable, but I just wanted to sweep it under the table, right?
So basically you responded without thinking.
I responded in fear, in uncomfortable.
It was a quick response.
Right.
Right.
And so
it was a reaction.
It was a reaction response. There we go. And what happened is that has just ate at me for the last couple of days. Well, then the following day, I get a response that says, "I'm so sorry I asked for that. I don't know what I was thinking." So I said, "You're fine. LOL. All's good."
All's not good.
No. But I didn't want to make this person feel uncomfortable. And that's really what I want to talk about, that and our responsibility.
Excellent. So I have a quick question for you, because you just shared this story with me, and then you finish it with, "I didn't want to make this person feel uncomfortable." However, this person didn't give a darn that they made you feel uncomfortable and put you in this situation.
Well, right. But I think as women, and maybe this is just more women like me, but I think in general as women, when we get into an uncomfortable situation or at the workplace, there's, banter between the men about how we're dressed or how good we look or whatever. We kind of laugh it off. We kind of tease it off because we want to be cute. We do.
I don't know that it's so much want to be cute. I think it's
you don't want to be
ousted.
You don't want to be ousted. Exactly.
You want to be included in
You
things.
want to be included. And let's be honest. I don't spend time putting on my makeup, fixing my hair, picking out my outfit to not be seen. Now, I don't want everybody seeing me, but I want to be seen at my best.
Right.
As do most of us, right? That's the reason why we do what we do. So when somebody gives you a compliment, and it's a nice compliment, and you know what I mean by that, it's respectful. Right. It makes you feel good.
There's nothing wrong with that, right?
It's like, thank you.
And you know what I always do when somebody does that?
What?
I say, thank you. My husband agrees.
I love that.
I always try to bring it back to my husband, because I view it as being disrespectful. And I got to tell you, I wasn't always like this.
Right.
But social media is kind of a gateway. If you look at main cause of cheating and divorces, and social media is really high on that.
It's huge.
And it's because it's easy access and you can do it immediately, right?
And there's not a lot of accountability. It's like doing it in the shadows. So recently in this last month, I've got to back up here for a second. I have had some of the people who are most dear to me find out that there has been cheating in the relationship. And it was really bad when it was 1, and then it was 2, and now it's 3. And I'm sitting there going, what the hey? What's going on? And then I had to hold myself accountable to my response. And that's what I really want to talk about. So I was uncomfortable. I wanted to make light of it because, you know, when I get a message that says, "Good morning, beautiful. I hope you have a great day,"
it darn well better be from your husband.
Well, it wasn't always from my husband. So, you know, now I don't, this is the uncomfortable.
It is the uncomfortable.
Because it made me feel good.
Right.
And we as women like those little pellets of make us feel good. I don't know how to really address that other than the one thing that you said that I do a lot is, "Thank you so much. My husband and I appreciate that." Or you get and I know you've gotten this one, "I hope your husband knows what a lucky guy he is."
And you respond with, "He does. I will be sure to tell him that I'll add you to the list and let him know." Right?
I do respond with that one with, "Thank you. My husband and I appreciate it."
So let me ask you a question, Rachel.
Sure.
Why do you think it is that women have to, and I can't think of a good word right now, so I'm just going to say what's on my mind.
Say it, girl.
Why do you think women feel like they have to pussyfoot around a man making a comment like that, which I got to tell you is clearly disrespectful to your husband? A request.
You know, and not only that, and I'll go back to answer. You know, honestly, I don't have an answer, but here was the thing that really bugged me that I had to go back and address this. Is I'm thinking about my girlfriends who I love and all the pain that they are suffering because of what was done. And I started thinking, my LOL, no, you're fine, did not protect his wife, his relationship, or even him. It was a disservice to all three.
Well, and you know what?
Not to mention my own husband.
You have to, in today's society, we have to stay clear of anything that could be a gateway.
Absolutely.
Gateway drugs, gateway conversations, anything inappropriate or even mildly inappropriate.
Absolutely. Because I never thought I would get that message. Truly did not. 3 years.
Let me tell you,
never
your husband
thought that would
knew.
happen.
Your husband knew you would get that message.
Well, my husband and I talked to my husband about my response.
I know, but I'm telling you that when you're speaking to another man, your husband knows at some point you're going to get that message. Rachel, it's a fact.
Well, it's interesting because my husband told me today, and he said, and honey, I'm sorry I'm outing you here, but he said, or outing the man code. He said, I hope I don't get, in trouble with men. He said, but I read this, and he said, and I don't know how true this is, but when I told him about the message, he said, well, that's somebody fishing. And I'm like, fishing for what?
For a pic, and it's not a pic that you see on Facebook.
Right. And I said, okay, but I've had this relationship with this person, and it's never gone here for 3 years. And he said, yeah, some fishermen take their time.
That's right.
And he
Some are
said,
very patient.
he said, most men will not have a friendship with an attractive woman that they don't think will lead them somewhere.
I agree.
That's frightening.
It is frightening, but you know what? I've got to tell you. So when I got married, one of my closest friends is a man. You know him.
Mm-hmm.
And I love him with all my heart.
Right.
And I would never do anything to disrespect his wife or my husband. So we had to change our friendship.
Right.
When we both got into relationships, we had to change it. And now I speak to his wife and we do things as couples.
Right.
And we don't put ourselves in a position to be the other one's fall guy. Because I promise you, I don't care how glorious people make their relationship. Everyone has flawed relationships.
Absolutely.
And there will come a day that you're going to cry on their shoulder and they're going to be there for you. And you just have to protect your relationship by not going down that road and not opening that door.
I agree. You know, so what I did was I went back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said,
and good for you.
I needed to.
Yeah.
For my husband, for his wife, for him, and for my own self-respect.
Well, and don't forget your friends and your family and everybody that it would affect in the event that you didn't go back and rectify it and you did allow it to go a little further, a little further,
right.
a little
Started
further.
going down
next
that
thing
rabbit
you know,
hole.
You've ruined a lot of people's lives.
A lot of people's lives. Absolutely. So what I did is I stepped back and I said, hey, I need to respond to this. I need to address the elephant in the room. And I said, basically, the reason I didn't respond is I really wasn't sure how. But here's my response. What your request was disrespectful to my husband.
And
it would make
you.
him uncomfortable. Right. But my husband really deserves that number one spot.
Right.
Number two, it's disrespectful or would make your wife uncomfortable. Number three, it would mean that I'm lacking integrity and that my values really don't matter, nor does my marriage the way that I said it does. And number four, as a friend, because I do believe you can have male friends, I do, it is disrespectful to you because it's allowing you to be somebody less than who you need to be.
Okay, let me ask you a question. And I know I'm getting off topic of what
Sure.
you said. I love your response. I think it's great. Kudos to you for going back and doing it.
It was hard.
So my question is, how comfortable are you with your husband having conversations and texting other women?
Okay, well, first of all, this was not texting. I don't text.
What was it?
It was a message. It was a Facebook message.
Rachel, that's texting.
There's a difference
No, there
between
isn't.
texting somebody
Semantics.
throughout the day.
Semantics. You tell yourself whatever you want, but it's the same thing. You're having side conversations where no one else
Okay,
is
so
involved.
you don't talk to any other males besides your husband on Facebook?
Now, I'm going to tell you, I do. And sometimes what I say is not what I do, but conversations like that, no, I don't.
Okay, but there had never been a conversation like that.
There are maybe just a couple of people that I have conversations with that are men that you're talking friends. You're not talking collaborating through work or this or that. I do that. I'll build bonds with people just for work purposes. And you got to realize I'm in a male-dominated industry.
Right.
So it's very hard for me as a female, as a married female, to be successful when I have to tiptoe around just respecting my husband. But I've not always been this way. And I'll tell you what, I've gotten caught in the innocent conversations that turn into something that completely is against everything I believe in, and I had no integrity. So when it comes to this, I don't care if it's text message, I don't care if it's Facebook. If this is a personal friendship, you better be sitting there with your husband or take the phone home and show your husband at the end of every day.
Well, and I have to admit that up until this point, there wasn't one conversation we had in those 3 years, and it's not a daily thing by any means or weekly. Sometimes we don't talk for months at a time. But I never would have been uncomfortable with my husband getting on there and reading anything. Never.
Okay, that's one thing, him getting on there and reading something. But my question to you was, would you be comfortable with him opening that door with another woman?
If they were the same conversations that we were having up to that point, yes.
Okay, but
I trust him.
Why would you be comfortable with that? Why would you... Rachel, you're going to come to a point in your relationship where something's going to go wrong, and, you said it yourself. We as women like to be understood. We like to be appreciated. And if it's not coming from our husband, and we've got somebody there that it will come from, you're setting yourself up.
Okay. I agree and disagree, and this is why.
That's okay.
If you have those values in you, and those are your morals, and that is your compass, then you know when you're off track.
I call BS because
Which you're welcome to.
And the reason I call this is because I've lived it. Okay. And I ended up cheating on someone because I opened that door. And, anybody can tell me that, well, they've got more willpower, or they love their husband, or they love whatever you want to say. You're that much better than me. I'm going to call BS on it because I believe if you cherish something, you're going to protect it.
Okay, I agree 100%, but I'm not walking down that path. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I didn't send those pictures. I didn't do those
I know you
personal
didn't.
texts.
I know you didn't, but
so
I'm saying...
I understand that you said you have before, but that's your experience.
I know, but you're opening the door. Okay, the bottom line is I agree 100% with Dawn. Okay. I agree that if a man reaches out to a beautiful woman, he is not thinking about his wife at that moment. Period.
I agree and disagree. It depends on what you're talking about.
Yeah, if you're reaching out because you want to collaborate for a work project,
which is how this started.
That's one thing. Okay, but can't you see it started out that way and now you're in this position?
Well, right.
So it's opening the door, right? Having those personal conversations, the friendly conversation, even letting someone say, hey, beautiful, and let me tell you right now, probably 3 months ago, I was like, oh my gosh, it's just, a term of endearment. But I promise you, I have seen it too many times where that little word has turned into ruining people's lives.
Okay, so then that's going to bring me, because we're going down a rabbit hole here that this was not where I wanted to go. What I wanted to talk about is what responsibility do we as women have to each other and to the men who do this, who go fishing? What responsibility? Yes, I had a responsibility to protect myself, my husband, and my marriage.
Right.
But I also had a responsibility.
Hold on. By the way, I know you. I know how you are. I believe that you're doing everything to protect that. I'm not saying
absolutely.
that.
My husband is my mister,
but
and I don't say
open.
that lightly. Well, I think I slammed that door shut.
You did.
Clearly.
And that's why. I mean, I'm not worried because maybe you went along with it, but you went back and corrected it, right?
Right.
I'm not worried
I
about
held
that,
myself accountable to where it was. But what I want to talk about is how, as women, do we, because we're in an age where it's all about women power, right? Women protecting women, women building women.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
women. And believe me, I am all about women power. There's not anything that we can't do with the right support, the right beliefs, the right mission.
I agree.
But I don't think you make a man less in order to be that woman.
I think that we're equals.
Right. So. Absolutely. Sometimes he's stronger, sometimes you are.
It's
just
team.
A given. That's what a team's all about. Sometimes you're the quarterback, sometimes you're the cheerleader. But I see as women that's the one place we fail each other over and over and over again.
So I don't understand. I'm not following you. Where do we fail each other?
And when that uncomfortable situation comes up, or needing that pellet that, hey, I want somebody to tell me I'm beautiful, The kids are stressing me out. My husband hasn't looked my way in a week, and now somebody says something. It's like we need that.
So, but how do we fail each other? That's us failing ourselves.
Well, it is, but if I had not said anything to him or them, was I not in some way being responsible for failing his wife?
Oh, okay. I see where you're going.
Because,
and you know what? I agree 100%. I can actually tell you, again, from experience, I was married and my husband cheated on me, and the person that he had a very short affair with called me.
Right.
And she
Can
asked
you
me
imagine
about
her
it.
guts? I mean, how
You know
much
what?
that must have taken.
When she called me, I thanked her.
Oh, absolutely.
I had nothing bad to say about her. Which, by the way, I mean, my husband had good taste. He chose me, right? So I had nothing bad to say about her. I appreciated the fact that she called and she asked to see if we truly were in a bad position or if he was just being a creep and cheating. Right? So, yes, I understand what you're saying, and I think we do have a duty to one another. You know, instead of putting each other down and looking for all of the bad qualities, we need to look at each other as the strong individuals that you say we are, and the strong women and the beautiful women. And we need to stand beside one another and say, you know what? You've got an amazing woman.
Right.
Period.
Right. Which is one of the things that I did say, you know, this is not right for my husband, and this is not right for your stunning wife, and this is not right for you, and this is not right for me. So there were at least 4 victims in this situation, and it was a very short situation.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, that's just the initial. If it would have gone further, it would have been your grandchildren, your
absolutely.
children.
I don't even want to think of
your friends, everybody.
You throw a stone in a pond, and how far does the ripple effect go out? Exactly. Right. And it can seem so innocent. But so here is my question, or here is my hope in addressing it the way that I did. Mm-hmm. My hope is that that door not only slammed between us, but that was such an that I made him as uncomfortable as he made me. And that doesn't happen again.
So a lot of people would be afraid that by doing this, they would lose that quote unquote friendship.
Right.
And honestly, in my mind, there's no other way to handle this except for the way that you did in the end.
Well, and you know, one of the things that I said to him is that, you know, I really appreciate that you've told me that you admire me as a businesswoman and you're impressed with what I'm doing and the marketing and my integrity. And I said, I hope that in this situation, that is what I am showing you, my integrity and my boldness in addressing this. And that, because that's the way I want you to see me.
I don't know if I'd go, that's the way I want you to see me.
No. I didn't say exactly that, but that's my hope.
I get what you're saying. And you know what? I think by you doing that, Rachel, you're sending that message to your husband and yourself. And it really doesn't matter what he thinks, right?
Right.
It matters what message you're sending. And, you know, I really wish that the women had more courage and more confidence like you do to be able to not just brush it off. That
was the easy road. The LOL was easy. It really was.
But you make a great point because you have to be intentional about your actions. You went back and you reviewed these messages because you vowed to yourself and you're really trying to speak only the truth.
Right.
Well, how many times have we blown things off because we're not intentional?
Very good point. Very, very good point. So then how do we as women stop these things from happening?
You're never going to stop it.
How do we protect each other?
We protect each other by standing up and by standing our ground and being true to the women that we are, you know. So when I was younger, I had a family member that touched me inappropriately. And I did the exact same thing that you're talking about. I laughed. I blew it off. I did everything I could to just make it like it wasn't happening.
I think that's what we do as survivors of sexual abuse. I did the same.
So the answer to your question is we start speaking up. We start talking about it, right? Like we are right now. We let other women know, and men, we let other people know that if you're uncomfortable in a situation, I don't care who it is, you say you're uncomfortable. That's the only way this will stop, because what we do by being quiet and by, being embarrassed, we shouldn't be embarrassed. We're not the ones that did the inappropriate action.
That is the one thing that I thought about when I got that message. What did I do that would make these people, these gentlemen, men, think that it was okay to make that request?
Okay, so first of all, don't call him a gentleman, because a gentleman would not request that.
Okay.
I know you want to make it's the gateway, okay? It's the gateway. It's like a man touching a woman inappropriately. Maybe it starts on the knee, then it goes to the backside, and you just can't do it. You have to stop it. And what we can do as women is we can stand up for ourselves and say, that's disrespectful.
And
period.
I think doing that, my hope is that by us as women standing up and saying that that's not okay, that it holds them to a higher standard that they're not holding themselves to.
Well, yeah, because do you really think that if he thought for a minute his wife would get wind of this, that he'd do that?
No.
Exactly. But you know what? We have these little side conversations that, we're just friends, and then it goes a little further and a little further, and they start thinking, men and women both. I'm not bashing on men.
No, women are...
They start thinking, nobody's going to know. So the answer is you just don't even put your toe in the water, right?
So what if you have your toe in the water and you don't, again, that's the question. What did I do that made it, why is it something that I did?
It's not you, Rachel. You're taking this personally, and it's the appeal between men and women.
So
you're a beautiful
woman.
You're a beautiful woman. And I'm not saying this man is a bad guy.
Right.
I'm saying he's had a weak moment, and why put yourself in a position to be weak?
So again, how do we as women step up and protect women from that ever happening? How do I control?
You can't control it. We can't fix the world. We can't. I know you want to.
I do want to.
The way we do it is we become better role models. And we talk about these things, and we make it okay for a woman to say, you know what, that's not appropriate. I'm married. And regardless of how much I like your friendship, you cross the line, and I've got to defriend you. Period.
There's also, because you said I'm married. Is it any more appropriate to ask a single young woman for that? Whether you're married, she's married,
unless
or you're
she
both
wants
single.
It. I mean, unless she wants that type of relationship, and they might be dating or whatever. Let's face it. There are some people out there that's all they want. All they want is to send pictures and get intimate and not have a relationship. And
there's a lot of marriages like that.
That's why we can't control what other women do, right? Yeah. It's a personal decision. And all we can do is we can align ourselves with our values, our integrity. But one thing that we have to get better at doing as women and men is not putting ourselves in a position where we'll do something that's against our character. Because the bottom line is, if you do something against your character and you continue to leave that door open, then that's your character.
Right. No, I agree. And I think it's, again, getting comfortable and being uncomfortable. Yeah. I was completely uncomfortable from the start until I stated that.
And you know what?
Wasn't
it's freeing,
okay.
Right? It's freeing, because now you know that he's not going to reach out to you again. And unless it's just to apologize and say, you know what, that is why I respect you.
Exactly what happened, and
Right.
and I very much appreciated that, and I will be very guarded going forth. I didn't just block him, and I know that may be what you would do.
No,
but that's
and
not
I'm not
me.
saying that you have to do that, because I mean that would probably be the best thing for our husbands.
Well, and so I want it stated just so that you, the audience, know my husband's aware of all of
I know.
this.
And I do
discuss
know
this with
this.
him 100%.
That's kind of why I can be so candid with you, is because I do know your integrity. I do know how you handled this. But yeah, I'm kind of harsh about this, because I've had people who love me dearly and people that I have loved dearly. And there have been relationships outside of those relationships. Right. And the only reason, not because we're bad people, because we allowed ourselves to be in the situation. How do you want to foolproof your relationship, whether it's a marriage or not? You don't put yourself in a position to have that happen. And I know it seems like I'm over the top, because it's just a Facebook message, right? You're not text messaging every day, whatever. No, you're contacting the other sex, and you're setting yourself up with a friendship so that one day you might have a weak moment.
I can see where you're coming from. I don't agree.
And you don't have to.
Because it's who we are as individuals. But I do definitely see where you're coming from. And I do think it's important that we do safeguard ourselves. Had the relationship, I mean, I get the messages, hello, beautiful, how are you today? Delete.
Right.
Block.
So
done.
let me go a step further for you and ask you a question. So your husband aside, right? Let's say you weren't even married. How disrespectful is it to you that a man's asking you for pictures? And you know it's not. He can look at Facebook and see pictures of you.
Right.
As of probably today.
Yeah, probably.
Right?
Right.
So we know what he was asking for.
Right. I felt naked. I felt betrayed. I felt dirty.
So let me ask you this, and I'm putting you on the spot here.
Oh, you always do.
I know. I love you. Why would you want to remain friends with someone like that made you feel like that? And you don't have a deep relationship with them. I mean, I can understand someone, that you love
seen
and
as a brother.
You've committed to making a mistake and you forgiving them.
Right.
But someone that's just on Facebook?
I'm not going to say that's the relationship that we had.
Okay, and that's fair enough. I don't know the depth of your relationship.
Yeah. But it's a very valid point of why would I want to continue in that relationship if that were the case. And my answer is I wouldn't. But this relationship has built long enough and there's been enough other communication up until this point that it's one that if my point is clear of where I stand.
So what happens the next time it happens?
Oh, there will be no next time. It's as simple as that.
Well, there could be a next time because you're still friends with them.
Well,
but
then, okay.
What you're saying
then
is,
obviously what he's looking for in a relationship and what I am are not the same, and you end it, period.
So what happens if that next time comes when you're at a bad moment in your marriage?
That's where I have to hold myself accountable to who I am.
And this is where I'm saying we all get weak. We all have bad moments. And
we do.
Why do you want to set yourself up for it?
So my question would be this. Mm-hmm. You have friendships with men.
I do.
I know you do.
I do.
Some of them deeply wanted to date you.
Yep.
Told you they loved you, have been there and supported you at hard times financially.
Yep.
They're married now.
Yep.
Are you still friends?
I am friends first and foremost with their wife.
Okay.
And we don't have personal conversations. We don't have side note conversations.
You don't have texts that his wife aren't included in?
You know what? I would be wrong to say that we don't. However, it is a very slippery slope that I'm riding there. But we do respect our relationship and our relationship with our husbands or our spouses. But when we do have the side conversations, it's about technical things. It's not How are you? How have you been? How's your marriage? How's this? How's that? Right? It's let's get together, all of us. What I'm saying is the relationship is a respectful relationship. Just like, yes, I have friends on Facebook, but my husband and I have a joint Facebook page. So the point is we take every possible precaution that we can so that we don't have any problems in our marriage. Because let me tell you, marriage is hard enough.
Okay, but there's no guarantees in that.
Well, no, there's not. There's no guarantees in life. But why add problems? It would this is the way I look at it, Rachel. We're all human and we're all sexual beings, right? I mean, that's the way we were designed.
Absolutely. It's what makes us keep having babies.
So when you do that, it's like taking an alcoholic to the bar and saying, I trust they won't drink. Why are you going to put them around it? Don't give the lady on a diet the dessert menu. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, well, that makes sense, and I see from your point where you're going. I still don't agree 100%, but that's
and you don't
why
have to. And you know
we
what?
do what we do.
That is. And here's the thing. I would love if we lived in a world where we could have relationships and friendships with the opposite sex, and there was that trust there, that complete and total trust. But you know what? We see it in churches where they're Bible study partners and they end up having an affair.
The preacher and the secretary.
Exactly. We see it everywhere. So
I guess here's the bottom line then. It has to, okay, we can put as many safeguards as we want in place, just like the child we don't want to touch the hot stove, right? Don't touch the hot stove. I put up the baby gate, don't touch the hot stove. You go over the baby gate. I put a leash on you, don't touch the hot stove. But eventually, if you want to touch the hot stove, you're going to touch the hot stove and you're going to get burned.
You're right, but the higher you put that stove, the less likely it'll happen.
Okay, I see that. I see how you put up roadblocks and you put up preventatives, but it has to be in you. It has to be in you. It has to be part of your moral compass.
That's not true.
And I guess, well, hold on.
I'm going to tell you why. I went down that slippery slope, and it is not in my moral compass, and I'm not wired like that.
Okay,
I put God first, and I am human, and I had a weak moment. So I'm saying, don't make it so easy on yourself.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, and I follow that. I get that line of thinking, but I also think that one of the ways we stop it, which is the whole thing that started this, is when we are confronted in an uncomfortable situation that we did not ask for, that we did not see coming, just like a car, you're driving down the road and smack, it hits you. You didn't ask to be hit. You didn't put yourself in that situation to be hit. Hold on, let me finish here. But you got hit. If we put in ourselves that when we are objectified, like I was, because let's admit it, that's what it was. It was somebody not seeing my soul, not seeing who I am. They were seeing something outside that they wanted that would make them feel better. Just like someone who sexually abuses you. It's like they're looking for something that has nothing to do with you or anything that you've done. I know as a child, that's one of the things they try to convince you of is that you wanted it. Okay, I didn't want this attention. I didn't want this forwardness. I didn't want this relationship. And I say relationship, and what I mean by that is friendship. Relationship is just my word when it's more than an acquaintance.
Okay, so we need to wrap it up, but I do want to leave you with a final thought.
Hold on. I got to finish this.
Go ahead.
Is we stand up and we say, this isn't okay, and we address that elephant in the room.
And that's exactly what you did.
On them.
That's exactly what you did. I think you handled it beautifully. I commend you. Not condemned. I commend you. However, one point I want to make, even if you're in a car wreck, the only way you can have any control over not being in another car wreck is by taking accountability. And if you say, maybe I should have taken a different path, then you get your control back. That's all I'm saying. So Remember, life doesn't always come with directions.
Sometimes you have to jump, pivot, and roll.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, please subscribe, share it out, and leave us your thoughts. Until next time, thanks for listening.
The Jump, Pivot, and Roll podcast is brought to you in part by the Shannon Styles Allstate Insurance Agency. Just as you take that next step in life, you need to take that next step in protecting yourself, your car, your home, and your family. Reach out to Shannon at 316-773-9864 or shoot her an email at sstyles@allstate.com. Also by Simplify My Life ICT. Is your life cluttered? Do you need help with organization? Rachel Murphy can help. Check out Rachel's services online at simplifymylifeict.com or reach out to Rachel at simplifymylifeict@gmail.com. To keep up with the Jump, Pivot, and Roll podcast, make sure to follow them on their Facebook page. Just go to facebook.com/Jump, Pivot, and Roll. There you can find content, podcasts of the show, discussions with Rachel and Shannon, and more. Plus, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites, from iTunes and Spotify, Google Play to TuneIn, and right on their Podbean site at jumppivotandroll.podbean.com. And for all the exclusive content, make sure to become a VIP member on their Patreon site. Just go to patreon.com/Jump, Pivot, and Roll.